you look at the size difference between the smallest customer you want to sell and the largest customer you want to sell. There are 6 key components to a SaaS pricing model, and in order for it to actually be a model that you can execute and use to price something. Step 4, granularity. So this is the size of the unit that you charge by, right? So, and I usually say that there's like 3 kinds: atomic, chunky, and expanding. And I'm going to explain what that is. So, but first here, if you charge per user, you can't charge for half a user, right? So you're going to charge for at least 1 user. So that is what the atomic unit is, like the smallest possible, unit that you can bring through. So for an API call, that would be 1 API call, right? And so forth. But nobody says that you actually have to charge the atomic unit, right? So you have a lot of software, for example, that's charged per 5 users or per 50 users and so forth, right? And you can charge per million API calls. So whenever people sort of break into the new million, you just count in a full million. Maybe that's only like $100. So that's fine, right? But instead of counting single units, you just count a bigger increment. So, or granularity, and that can have practical purposes. Also, it can be used to increase pricing, like somewhere between 2 and 4%. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 users. Buy them one at a time. Chunky would be something like per 5, 10, 15, or API calls 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, whatever it is. And then an expanding granularity basically is you say, well, the unit is going to change. So the first unit isn't the same as the second unit, isn't the same as the third unit, and so forth. It doesn't have to be. So for users, that might be something like 2, 5, 10, right? So first I buy 2, then I buy 3 more, then I buy 5 more, right? And then it might be 15, so another 5, and then it might be 25, so 10 more, and so forth. So whatever you're doing is you say, well, the next purchase always is of a reasonable size compared to the full previous purchase, right? So you just, let's say, always expanding by at least 10%, something like that. So my advice here is that, do your, I call it like granularity log scale. But if you look at your entire market, let's say you sell to school districts, right? And then, you want to count you're selling software for teachers, then the largest school districts in the US have around 100,000 teachers. So that would be like New York or Chicago, something like that. And then the smallest ones are going to have like only a dozen, like very few, like at least less than 100. And then you look at the size difference between the smallest customer you want to sell and the largest customer you want to sell. And you might not want to sell to the smallest ones, but if you want to sell to the 100 teacher school district and the 100,000 teacher school district, then the size difference, so 100 to 100,000 is 1,000x, right? So your largest customer is 1,000 times larger than your smallest potential customer. And then you might want to choose something like an expanding granularity. So you might say, well, we're going to charge per, 5 teachers, 10, 25, 50, 75, 100, 150, 200, whatever. And then you go up, and then at, later up the scale is like 50K, 55K, 60K, and so forth. And then you just go chunks of 5K, right? But the chunks of 5K that might make sense for Chicago and New York and Miami and whatever, the larger school districts, are 50 times the size of the smaller ones itself, right? So you need something that scales here. But if on the other hand, you're selling to, let's say you're selling like design software to freelancers and small agencies, and you're like, well, I sell to freelancers, that's 1 person, and then the small agencies, like they're, maybe they're 20 people max, like that's my target market. Then you probably just want to sell single users, right? Because it's just like a 20x between your smallest and your largest customer, and then, that's probably pretty appropriate. So that's at least how I think about it. Hey there, so I create these videos for free so that you can take your great SaaS product and turn it into a great SaaS business. So if you like the video and you got value from it, you should, of course, subscribe to the channel and also tell a friend. So write someone and say, hey, you're in SaaS, this guy talks about SaaS, maybe there's something in there for you. So that is the only way that this channel actually grows or these videos gets around. And this is sort of how I try to provide value to everyone. I have a network of clients that I have, and I get most of my business from referrals only. So the reason I make the videos and write the books and so forth is actually to just provide value to everyone else, because I can only be in one place at a time. So my hope with all these videos is just to do more good in the world. And if you tell a friend or you share, you can help me do that. So thank you.